And I do have Mr. Sal Costa from My Darkest Days on the line.
How's it going?
Hi, Sal. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Just on our way to Sault Ste. Marie for a casino gig tomorrow.
And who are you playing with?
Sorry?
And who will you be playing with?
We're actually on a headline tour right now, and Reunion's going to be opening for us.
All right. Two great bands on
they've been
one
opening
stage.
for us on all these shows, and they're going to be opening for us tomorrow as well. Really cool band.
And how long are you going to be touring with Reunion?
I think our last date with them officially is, I think, Monday. And then we're off on the Nickelback Bush Cedar tour for about 4 or 5 months. And on our off days, we'll be doing headline shows, and Reunion will be opening for us on those headline shows.
Beautiful. So you will be hooking back up with them.
Yes, yeah, it looks like we will.
All right, great. I really not only enjoy your music, but I do like Reunion, and fortunately I've made some connections with those guys, so that would be fantastic concert to see.
They're great.
Yes, they are. Sal, now you are in big support of a campaign called Rethink Breast Cancer, and you're hooking up with Kramer and Gibson Guitars. They've made a custom-made Pink Flying V guitar for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it looks like you're going to be playing this this guitar for your whole tour, and then at the end of the tour, you're going to have Nickelback, Bush Seether, and My Darkest Days all autograph that.
Yeah, well, years ago, my uncle, who I was very, very, very close with, passed away from cancer. And recently, my grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's actually a survivor, so she's luckier than my uncle was. And I just wanted to kind of pay tribute and bring some awareness to just cancer in general, because I think the more people are aware of it, you know, the more it'll influence them to go to doctors and get their, you know, yearly checkups. And especially for like an older woman, like if my grandmother didn't know, if there wasn't as much awareness as there is, she probably wouldn't have gone to get checked to make sure that, you know, she didn't have cancer or anything like that. And luckily she did, and she caught it early, so she's a survivor. And if she didn't catch it on time, you know, she wouldn't be alive today. So it's something that's really important to me, and it was just really cool to hook up with Kramer and Gibson and for them to create this guitar. And it's going to be really cool because at the end of the tour, we're going to actually auction off the guitar, and the highest bidder gets to keep the guitar, and all the money that the guitar makes is going to go straight to cancer research.
Now, Sal, I have a question. This is Stacy Sturman. I own UR Radio. I had a question when Laura was telling me about this cool thing. Where is there, like, are you doing this through Amazon, or is there an auction site that people can write down now so that they can make sure they get in on this auction?
It hasn't been announced yet because it's going to probably be 6 to 7 months from now before we auction the guitar. So we're just working right now with Rethink Breast Cancer, the organization, about where exactly we want to auction it off, and that's something that we're still figuring out right now.
Well, I think that's great that you're promoting not only breast cancer itself, but getting in and doing the preventive checking for very early signs, because that is the best way to try and defeat some of this cancer. And I also had lost one of my uncles this week. His funeral was yesterday with his battle of cancer. And
well, they say prevention is the only cure, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, or at least a good start. He passed away, and the death of cancer is very, very tragic. I mean, those poor individuals suffer.
It's a horrible long
it's
day.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I remember seeing my uncle, who's like 6'1", strong, you know, young man, like 45 years old, and like I saw him on his deathbed, you know, at like 90 pounds. You know,
right.
And it was horrifying, and no one should have to go through that. So I think just the more people that can come together, the more brains that come together, the more scientists that come together, will only bring it closer to a cure. I am by no means a scientist or a doctor. My brain doesn't work like that. My sisters, on the other hand, one of my sisters is a doctor. My other sister is a lawyer. They have more calculated thoughts than I do. I just want to bring a voice to awareness, essentially, and then let people whose brains work to developing, cures, take it from there. So I really want to help just raise money so people can kind of take it and essentially just come close to a cure.
You said something that's really interesting to me is your sister's a doctor, your other sister's a lawyer, and then you pick up a guitar. How did your family handle that?
They were, it was weird. Like, I always remember just being a little kid, and I knew, like, since I was just a kid, like, I was like, I got my first, my sisters are 11 and 9 years older than me to start off with. I inherited their CD collection. So when all my friends were listening to, like, Spice Girls, I was, like, listening to Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue. I was a little bit behind on everybody. And it was just really weird. I remember seeing Slash the very first time on this Guns N' Roses VHS tape, and then just thinking, I want to do that. And every time, my parents would ask me, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, I'd be like, no, I'm going to be a guitar player. And it just, I think they thought I was going to grow out of it, but I just never did. And I knew it was going to happen. It was really weird. I'd never questioned it. It was just like, when? And then it did. And I think because I didn't have a backup plan, I just spent so much time working at it that I gave myself no option but to make it in the music business.
Now, you started becoming involved in music instruments right around the age of 8, I believe, and one of your biggest influence was your older sister, Monique. Is she...
Yeah.
Obviously, you had just said that, one's a doctor, one's a lawyer. I'm not sure which one is which. But is she still involved in any type of music?
No, it's actually crazy. Like, my eldest sister, Kathy, was like I would say she was close to a piano prodigy, like, incredible piano player. But her love was always wanting to be like a lawyer and reading and stuff like that. So she became a lawyer. Monique, who is now a doctor, she was never a great player or musician. She just loved music so much. And I looked up to her always because she always had the coolest music. And they really they turned me on to it without even really knowing. My sister Monique bought me my first guitar, and like that's really the obsession that started from there.
Well, I remember you saying that when you would have your friends from the neighborhood come over, you would hide all your Nintendos and all that kind of stuff and would basically force them to play band with you.
Right? Literally, like, the kids in my neighborhood, I ended up not being friends with any of them. My mom tells me all the time, she's like, every little kid wants to play with Nintendo or with, like, X-Men toys, and she's like, I'd call, like, the neighborhood kids to come over, and your friends from school set up play dates, and, you'd be like, Mom, when are they coming over? And my mom would be like, oh, they'll be over in an hour, and she'd like, you'd run downstairs to your play area, you would hide everything but your guitar and your drum kit. And I would sit there, and it's like my friends are coming over to play, and I'm like auditioning them, and they're just like, I don't want to play drums. I'm like, well, then leave, because that's all I want to do.
So how long do you think that continued? Did that continue for quite a while, or was kind of like a short-term...
it was a stage.
Did you start losing play dates?
Once he ran out of people.
Absolutely. And it was funny because, like, it was weird. You just start to sift through the people you think that. A few times, like, okay, he's resistant, but like I can see he's got some fight. He might be able to do it. And so I call him back and give him another chance. And he'd be like, no, I just want to play. I'm like, all right, you're cut.
So how many years do you think that you did
auditions?
Auditions.
Years, honestly, until I joined My Darkest Days.
Now, how did you get involved? I know, I've know quite a bit about you, but a lot of people that may be listening may not. Now, you had gotten hooked up with during college, and there was a man who sat down with your parents and said you're wasting your time in school, that you need to just basically be a rock star. Now, is that where you, from that point, is that where you got hooked up with My Darkest Days, and how exactly did your band form?
Well, I went to university. I was always an academic kid, even though I was always a musician at heart. I always did well in school, so I did go to university. I was doing a double major. I was doing flamenco guitar, and then I was doing like marketing and business and philosophy as like a separate major. And I ended up taking like flamenco guitar, and my professor would always say like to me, he's like, I think you're meant for something more than this. And he's just like, I see you as being a rock star. He's like, if you stick in school, it's like you're going to waste your youth getting a degree that's just going to make you become a teacher. And he's like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but he's like, you're meant to be on stages and playing in front of people and creating. And I remember one day being at home and like getting a call on my house phone, and I lived with my parents at the time, and it was my professor, and I answered the phone, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, pretty good. And he's just like, are you going to be around in like 20 minutes? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you mind if I come over to your house? He's like, I'd like to talk to your family. I'm like, sure.
Oh, you thought you were in trouble?
Yeah, I thought I did something wrong. I thought I had like a test, a playing test in front of a jury like a week before. So I was like, did I think or like something happened? So he comes over. He pretty much, sat my parents down. He's like, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Costa, like, I know your daughter's like really successful in completely different fields, but like, trust me, Sal's got to drop out of university, and he's got to find like-minded people, and I believe he's gonna do it. And he just really believed in me, and I think that gave my parents that extra tiny little bit of hope. My parents were always very supportive of me, but it's scary, like, I guess, having a son who's just like, yeah, I'm going to be a musician, because it's like a lottery. It's literally like 1 in a million to end up getting signed in a rock band and having any success. So it kind of just went from there.
And how did you... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was I was the lead singer, lead guitar player of my own band, and we were touring with My Darkest Days, and I never wanted to be the lead singer of a band. I always wanted to sing as well, but more harmony, not really as a lead singer. Mm-hmm. And started touring with My Darkest Days and playing shows together, and a position came available in their band, and I was always a fan of them, and I guess they were also a fan of what I did, and we ended up just kind of coming together, and I left what I was doing, and it was history from there.
Now, people see you on stage and you're like this hot rocker guy, but were you always that way? Or when you said you were very scholastic and you were really into music, were you a geek in high school, Sal?
I was like I don't know how you would describe me. I was like a floater, really. Uh-huh. Like I had, that's why I do a lot of bully campaigns as well, because I was literally friends with all the popular kids. Mm-hmm. I was friends with the jocks, but I was also friends with all the nerdy kids in my school. I'm like truly like a nerd at heart. I haven't really changed very much. Maybe my hair a few times, but I haven't really changed, to be 100% honest.
And I'm
still a nerd at heart. Like, I spend my time on the road, like, reading and stuff. Like, at heart, I'm still a nerd, so it hasn't really changed.
Well, you're probably one of the best-looking nerds I have ever seen.
Oh, thank you.
You're changing the faces of nerds everywhere.
Okay, speaking of the hair, when did you decide to do the mohawk, and what kind of what influenced you to do the mohawk and the gray? I think the colors are fantastic. So can you just kind of give me an idea of why you decided the mohawk and the colors?
I'm a loud person, so I wanted like a loud haircut, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I like everybody asks me like, "What's your favorite color?" My favorite color is purple, but
Yes.
for some reason, like black and white are still like people say they're not colors, they're shades, but still like I love just the contrast of black and white.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of person I am. Like I'm a yes or no person.
Okay.
I'm not a maybe person. So that's kind of like my hair is just like it's black and white, and it's just like it's kind of what I believe in. It's like always yes or no. I'm never maybe.
So when did you decide to do the mohawk? How old were you? How long have you been rocking that?
I was probably, oh man, maybe 16 years old.
So you've had the same...
And it's changed colors and ever since, but yeah, it was probably the first time I cut it like that.
Okay, I know like a majority of your influences, but can you tell some of our fans some of your big influences musically?
For me, it was really bands like Guns N' Roses, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Motley Crue, Audio Slave, Rage Against the Machine, Jane's Addiction, bands like that. And like that's one of my probably favorite bands ever, Led Zeppelin. Like I'm a huge Jimmy Page fan, and he really made me want to play guitar.
And you always kind of wanted to be the guitar player that just kind of sat back on stage, and that definitely is not your persona. What made that change?
Well, I think just like I saw bands like Guns N' Roses where Slash was just, he spoke a lot without having to speak.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Same with bands like Jane's Addiction, you know, like I was always a huge fan of, and again, like he's a guitar player that just did his thing, and I always found that like appealing. Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
It was just a role I felt was better suited.
Now, what you said one of your favorite influences too was Zakk Wylde, and you had a chance to play with him in
absolutely.
My Darkest Days. How was that?
That was really cool. The coolest part about it was just he's really like such a nice person, and like a really, really good guy, you know. And he's also he's a Gibson guitar guy, right? Yeah. And you know, another reason, you know, when you would buy like Guitar World magazines or whatever, you just see like, you know, Slash's Les Paul, or you would see like Zakk Wylde's Les Paul or whatever. So that was like another reason that I ended up playing the Gibson guitars and all that kind of stuff as well. And he was really nice, really down to earth guy, and just like he's like a big teddy bear.
Now, how did you get Zakk Wylde to join you in the song Porn Star Dancing? Because you have Chad Kroeger, which I can see because Chad Kroeger is the one that
signed you guys. Yeah.
Discovered you as. So I can kind of see where Chad comes in. Where did Ludacris and Zakk Wylde come in?
What the hell with Ludacris?
I mean, I really love his section of that, you know, the uncensored version.
The extended version, yeah.
But how did you...
It's just like, I think, like entertainers, like whether you're like an actor or a porn star like Ron Jeremy or a musician, like everybody kind of meets each other at some point.
Sure.
I think the careers just kind of intertwine at some point, and people just meet each other and just become friends, and that's really it. Like people would never think, you know, a guy like Chad Kroeger would know Ludacris, but they do, just because you meet each other through many different opportunities. Like, for example, like Ron Jeremy in our last video, like we had met him on tour when we were playing with Hinder, and you would never think that, you know, a rock band would just be friends with like Ron Jeremy. He's like 30 years older than us.
Yeah, and he seems creepy.
Where's the connection? But everybody just kind of meets in the entertainment business at some point.
Well, have you ever met somebody, you said Zach was really nice, but have you ever had an idol that you met and you're like, God, he was just a dick. I wish I hadn't met him.
Not really. No, not really, to be honest. Like a lot of the people in the rock community are just really down to earth, really cool people. Really, like everyone we've met so far, we've been really, really lucky to have met. They've just been really nice, really down to earth, really, really good people.
Okay, Sal, if you could sit down with any musician that has passed away, who would it be and what questions would you ask?
Oh, probably Jimi Hendrix. Just because, I mean, like, he pioneered so much, so many things. And, I don't know, just to kind of sit down with him and talk to him. Apparently, like, the last days before he died were pretty horrible. Like, he's getting booed off stage a lot. And I would have liked to know what was going through his head at the time before he kind of passed away. And he was just so awesome at what he did. He developed so many things for guitar players. He was just a pioneer, like a great pioneer of the guitar.
So that brings up the great debate, which is, that was what I was going to sort of ask you too, is with Hendrix. Do you think he's still as popular as he is because he died untimely? What if he lived another 30 years? Do you think he'd still be as famous as, or infamous as he is?
No, I don't think he would have. It would have been the same thing like if B.B. King died like 30 years ago. He would be on T-shirts at Hot Topic, like Jimi Hendrix is.
Hot Topic.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's true, though. It is true. Or like at Target or at Walmart, like you still see Jimi Hendrix swag everywhere. But if he was like 70 or 80 years old now, or 90 years old, like I think B.B. King's like in his mid-80s now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he would be.
Like if he was that old, I don't think he would. It would be the same thing. But they're really like, they were like, those guys all knew each other. It was the same thing, you know. Jimi Hendrix's death has kind of exploited and it made him into an icon. Same thing with Bob Marley and all those guys. Again, like go to Hot Topic or Target or Walmart, you'll just see his swag everywhere too. But if he was like 80 years old now, you probably wouldn't see a picture of 80-year-old Bob Marley on a shirt at Target.
With a joint hanging out of his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I know you have probably one of the biggest Starbucks addictions I have ever met in a human being. What are your favorite Starbucks? I mean, do you just have one flavor that you like, or do you have a variety of flavors that... Do you own just stock in
coffees in general? Like you just need it sometimes just to function. I've been trying to get off of it. I've been trying to drink decaf as much as I can because it's just like everybody says I already like talk way too much and I don't shut up, so that just like amplifies everything to the extreme. So I'm trying decaf. It's working a little bit, but not too much. I'm gonna have to probably cut myself completely off of it.
So you don't have what's your favorite flavor or flavors?
Just honestly, straight up coffee. I love it.
Just black? Oh, you would love. Okay, I have a friend. She brews. She roasts. She's a coffee roaster. So if we ever hook up, I will give you like a lifetime supply of super great black coffee.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
That would make my life.
So how much do you think you spend monthly on Starbucks? Because Starbucks is not cheap, and I know you are just I've never met anyone as addicted to a Starbucks as you seem to be. So how much money do you think?
Or a bad thing?
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Good for them.
Yeah, you should. Do you own stock in Starbucks? I mean, you probably
I should.
You should. How much money do you think roughly you spend at Starbucks a month?
Oh man, I'd say $60 maybe.
That's not as bad as I thought. Yeah.
But $60 is.
Have you ever thought of just like picking up a part-time job there? It comes with benefits.
But if
free coffee.
I tried to be barista once. I failed the online test 4 times, and then it was over. I couldn't do it. No, seriously.
You know what? I bet you spend more than $60
Sorry.
because Starbucks roughly is, depending on your size and your flavor. Like me, I fall in love with the white chocolate.
Whipped cream dessert drink thing.
What is it? White
Yeah.
chocolate.
White chocolate's good.
So, I mean, depending on your state, of purchase, I mean, you're roughly $5, and you probably drink Starbucks every day, correct?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's very true.
if you do that, honey, you're spending about $150.
You're probably closer to $160 a month than 60
Oh,
a month.
no.
Sal.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that times 12, let's see, and carry the 2, and you are looking at $3,500 a year in coffee, Sal?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's different when you look at it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have many vices, though, so I guess that's one that I
Okay.
can have.
I guess it could be worse, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you have a lot of tattoos. Can you tell me how many roughly you have if you don't know the exact count, and which ones are your favorites and why?
Probably, oh man, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15. But probably the treble clef on my arm that has my sister's initials, because my sister bought me my first guitar, and I looked up to them a lot, so probably that one.
Okay. And you were very young, I believe. I want to say like 10, between the ages of 10 and 12 when you got your first tattoo?
Oh, get out of town.
He snuck out of a hotel room, right?
Yeah, in New York. I think it was like 15, maybe.
Oh, I thought you were younger than that.
Oh, God. Okay, at least it's like
Oh, that was the ear
I got my
piercing.
ears pierced. Yeah.
That was the ear piercing. And that was
Yeah.
like when you were, 8?
Yeah, I was probably around that age for sure.
Okay. I guess Stacy seems to be pretty interested in that. If you kind of want to fill her in a little bit, I don't think she doesn't know the whole story like a.
Well, I was we always used to play hockey in my neighborhood, street hockey, and my parents were so overprotective, and I wanted to get my ears pierced, and back then that was early '90s. That it was still taboo for a boy to have his ears pierced. So, what the hell is an 8-year-old kid want his ears pierced for? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Parents
Yeah.
absolutely not. So I knew my only chance was on weekends we used to have these hockey games. I used to live in a court, and all the kids would come and we'd play hockey. And when there's 28-year-olds running around playing hockey, it's kind of you're wearing helmets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that'd be my best chance to escape because we all kind of looked the same running around. So I heard through the grapevine that there was this old Italian man that worked at a salon that would pierce anybody's ears, didn't matter how old you are. So I had an allowance, and I saved up some money, and I escaped from my house during one of those little hockey games, and got my ear pierced. And I came home, and my parents were so pissed off. My dad took it out right away. And then my sister, the next day, she gave me another one, and she put it back in for me. And then my parents took it out again, and she put in another one for me. So.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, that's interesting.
You should have just kept your helmet on.
Yeah, exactly. For years.
Okay, Sal. I'm sorry. I always want to call you Sal. We are going to take a quick break, and we are going to play Love Crime off of your new album labeled Sick and Twisted Affair. So just give me one moment, and we will be right back with Sal Costa.